Welcome to the September episode of Spartan Sports Central, our first episode of 2018-19. We have a great episode ahead for you. We welcome Stafford football coach Ken Savanah, Stafford volleyball coach Ivana and Stafford cross-country coach Angel Maldonado. Our player profile this week is Spartan senior football player Ken Savanah Jr. Welcome back to the show, Coach.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So you guys have a big one this week against St. Thomas. It's senior night, 23 seniors.
Yes,
Talk
sir.
about that.
Well, fourth game of the year. We're trying to get to the bye week where we have district starting the following week. This is big for our seniors in that we like to give them that recognition early. A lot of schools wait till end of the year, but we like to give it to them early so that they can get their parents there and get their grandparents there so they get a chance to see them early in the year before things start to, heat up district race where we'd be more concerned about ball games.
Okay, so at this point, the Spartans are 1-2. Big win over 5A Katy Pato, which is significant because they have a lot of kids that came there from Katy High School. And then we had Belleville this past week, lost really. Last year we beat them 7-5. That was your first victory as a head coach.
Right.
This year we lose 7-6. There was a tough call, to say the least, right there at the end.
Yeah.
But let's talk a little bit about that Belleville game and the defensive showdown that it was.
Kids did a great job. Kids did a great job all week of buying in. Played well, played hard. We took, at one point during the week, we went back and looked at some film from when we played them a few years ago and just watched the effort that the kids gave. And these guys took that and they tried to emulate that effort. Great job by them. We just, offense is difficult, especially in high school. 1 week you come out and you're able to do some things, and the next week just things don't fit. And that's kind of what we had this week. We just, we called something and it just didn't fit, so we weren't able to maximize on opportunities.
Okay. Well, St. Thomas is a program, of course, that you're familiar with. You were at their arch rival many years as a defensive coordinator at Strake Jesuit.
Correct.
So to some of the, I know it's different. It's not the same rivalry that was, obviously, but to some of the same emotions kind of come back when you see that STH logo?
It was difficult when I came here in 2014 because the colors are red and white, and for 18 years we hated red and white.
Okay.
So it was difficult coming from another school, changing into red and white. But it's a great rivalry. One of the best. That's one of the best rivalries in Texas. It's been voted that. A lot of years, a lot of good kids on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
So my hope is that we can kind of start that type of rivalry here.
And this is such a contrast of styles because you have our team, which is our bread and butter, has really been that defense, versus if you look at some of those, I sent somebody a couple of those St. Thomas scores and they said, Are you sure that's football? It looks like basketball with the 77-63, 64-58 to Needville. The 77-63 was to Kincaid, and of course they come here 0-3, hungry for a victory.
Hungry for a victory.
So their offense has been prolific. Our defense has been, about as strong as the defense can be, and here we are matching up against each other.
Be a good matchup. See if we're good as what we think we are defensively. Be a good test for those guys. Be a good test for us, just team-wise. We need to get a victory before we go into the district play.
So I know football coaches like yourself, y'all don't like to look ahead to games, but you mentioned the bye week, and the week after that we have Jack Yates here. They have such a strong football tradition over there, district opener in this new district that we're in. I saw a couple of their scores. What do you think about hosting Jack Yates over here?
Well, I saw them against Dallas Carter, and they look really well. Typical Jack Yates team. They're going to be very athletic. They run to the ball well, and they hit you with big plays. Watched them against, or heard, I hadn't seen, but heard that they played Galveston ball. Don't know what happened to them down there, but I also know that the ball program is starting to mount. They're starting to come back.
Yeah, with Coach Ambrose over there,
right.
sure. But
So,
then they come back, and I think I saw the score. I don't know if it was a close game. They played Warden
down in the rain on the muddy field.
On the muddy field.
But
put up a lot of points.
Yeah, but I know Coach Watson will have those guys ready when they comes district. They'll be ready to go. So it'd be when we got into district, you know, we thought that Yates, North Forest, Navasota would be teams that we really gotta be ready to play.
Sure. And then that running game, you probably have two of the best guys in the district between Pamugo and Wilson.
Right. We knew Tashawn would be pretty good this year. Pamugo is not much of a surprise as much as we didn't know he would just jump on the scene so fast.
Okay.
We always knew he was a good athlete. We weren't certain whether he was going to be a receiver or running back. So we started out with him at running back, and he's had some really good, these first 3 weeks, been really good for us.
And then finally, the kicking game, you had field goals from Pedro Trevino, a junior, of 41 and 32 yards. You got to feel good in a close game if you're in field goal range.
Yeah, well, we call him Cash Money because he tells us all the time, Coach, if you need me, I'm here. Whenever I got you don't worry about me kicking the ball. I got it.
So a little bit less stress for you in those type games.
No, it's not.
Not less stress, but maybe a little
stress,
peace of mind maybe. Between
I know he's a weapon. Actually, both of our kickers are. You know, Kobe Jordan does a great job flipping the field for us.
Sure.
Right. Yeah. And he does a good job. He can put the ball where you want it. He can kick it out of the end zone, and then he makes big kicks when we need him. So we've been blessed to have two really good kickers.
Okay, well, thanks again, Coach. We appreciate you being on the show.
Appreciate it.
And then next up is the player profile, Ken Savanah Jr. Ken Savanah Jr. works hard in the classroom and on the football field. SMETV's Raquel Sims had a chance to catch up with Ken Savanah Jr. this week.
The Stafford Spartans varsity football team is on the rise, following under the leadership of Kenneth Savanah Jr., who strives to set goals on and off of the field.
He's a very strong person. He does a real good job of focusing, and that's one of the biggest things that he brings to his team. He teaches them, or he leads them by doing things the right way. And sometimes you want to do things, you know, take a shortcut, and he won't allow himself or his teammates to take shortcuts. Originally, he wasn't very vocal. I think he's learning to be more vocal now as a vocal leader, but he was more of a leader by example. He always, I guess the people that he grew up watching did things the right way, and he's always trying to do things the right way and wants to lead his team the right way. I think he made me grow a lot as a coach, having to deal with the dynamics of a player that's really so close to you.
My tactics is we got to do the little things. That's the only way we can get the big things done. Play as a team, play as a family. We got to stick together when times get tough. Take it one game at a time. Academic focus is to get all my work done and do the best I possibly can in the classroom.
The beauty and limited boundaries of family and football.
We try not to spend a lot of time harping on stuff when we leave the field and when we get home. There are times when I'm watching films and he'll come in and watch, and then, you know, there are times when I'll tell him, hey, you might want to look at this, you know, and he'll come in and watch stuff and say, hey, you know, ask questions about different things. He's always quizzing me about stuff, you know, which I appreciate, because now I understand that his knowledge is growing of the game. So, you know, we spend a lot of time just kind of doing father-son stuff or joking with each other. You know, it's not a lot of time spent just on football. It's been one of those things where I think we both learned a lot from each other. And I know I've enjoyed the time I've had him with me, coaching him.
I enjoyed it a lot. I feel like he pushed me a lot. I feel like I get a lot because, you know, we get to go over some stuff at home, but we don't go over a lot.
With years of hard work and dedication, Savanah plans on pursuing his passion with a few universities in mind.
I say U of H or Baylor.
He's been kind of tabbed as a mid-level D1 kid. There's been a lot of interest in him at the D2 level. We've had some HBCUs that have shown interest in him. So, I mean, you know, to me, it's where he wants to go, what he's comfortable with.
There's always a hidden jewel within achieving everything you've longed to do.
I never thought I would be coaching, and I spent 20 some odd years in the logistics industry. And when I finally decided that, you know, this is what I wanted to do, I hadn't worked a day in my life since then. It's, you know, we spend long time, long hours, but it's never, you know, like a grind. You know, we get tired, but it's always, I want to get up and do it again the next day. So I guess I'm blessed to be doing something that I love.
With the start of the new football season, Savanah is already looking forward to being victorious.
Being a state champ, having fun, being the family with my team.
For Spartan Sports Central, I'm Raquel Sims.
Wow, that was a great father-son story. Next up is Stafford volleyball coach Ivana Ellis. Welcome back to the program. Coach Ellis is back for her second season with Stafford Volleyball. She graduated 2 college volleyball players last year and returns with a young team that's gaining valuable experience. Welcome back, Coach Ellis.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so second season as head coach. Has it gotten any easier? I know last year was your first year as a head coach and you're kind of learning some things.
Yeah, it's definitely gotten easier, more into the routine. Getting everything situated, like as far as how practices run and exactly what I'm aiming for each day that we go into practice.
Okay, and I know, how far has this team really come since, I know, the beginning of the year, playing a lot of 5A, 6A schools. How far have they, you know, developed since that period?
You can definitely see the improvements. My biggest thing was finding a leader on the team because the team is so young. So a lot of these girls will be returning next year. I only have 2 seniors. So that will initially only leave 2 spots open for somebody to move up from the JV or the freshman team in the coming year.
And who are your seniors?
My seniors are Chumaka Nwabuyoso and Kalijah Fontenot.
And have they been leaders for the team?
Chumaka last year, because she was a middle, and our middle last year was Talia. She didn't get as much playing time, but she definitely has had an impact this year in the middle, definitely with blocks and kills. With Kalijah, she is just coming back to us. She played her freshman year, but she's very athletic. She has really been our general on the floor as the setter in guiding her team and what they need to do.
And of course, you talk about Talia. That's Talia Monroe. She's at Division I Texas Southern now. Aaliyah Williams was a Player of the Week for her conference. She's at NCAA Division II Kentucky State. So both those kids going on to do great things. But back here in Stafford, we have, on Friday, we have Parent Night. We're going to play the Lady Jays of Needville at 5 o'clock on Friday, Parent Night. So tell me what Parent Night means to your program.
It's very important. I mean, without parents, we can't thrive. That means them waking up early when we have tournaments and making sure that they're there, being the only support sometimes for them, especially when football's going on, that crowd starting out in there and then going out to the football field. So they're very important to us.
Okay, so with Needville, last year I believe you guys were the first team in about a decade to actually defeat Needville in a game. I know the match didn't turn out like you wanted, but you defeated them in a game. So that was pretty special. Talk about the momentum of that going into this year.
That's really exciting. I actually got to see Needville play when we went to a tournament down in Dickinson, and I'm very excited. It seems like it's going to be a real even game. That I know they graduated one of their important players, which was their middle, and I believe she was committed to Baylor, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so they lost her, but they have another player. She's their setter. So we're looking forward to just competing against them and seeing, you know, actually what we do. I know the coach told me last year that we're one of the teams that she looks forward to playing with all the athleticism that we have.
Oh, okay. So then after that, as far as another home game, we're looking at Sealy, and that's the pink out game. And I know that's an important tradition. Talk about that.
Well, the pink out game now is even more important to me because I lost a cousin to breast cancer. So it's always important to make sure that we show that support. I know the football team as well has a pink out night. So this year I was able to create shirts so they can be worn at both events to show their support.
And that, of course, for the viewers is Friday, October 5th, which is also our homecoming.
That is correct.
Yeah. And then after that, you have senior night against Fulshire, which a lot of people out there know of Fulshire, but they don't know Fulshire High School, new school that's in our district now. That's October the 19th. What's it going to be like playing against that team?
I'm looking forward to it. I've played against them in softball, and they have they're building up a pretty good program in that area, so I'm excited to see what they've been doing in volleyball. I have looked at their record, so they seem to be doing fairly well this season. I think between them and Needville, they're our hardest challenge, it seems like.
Okay, so I know we talked about those two seniors, but do you have some underclassmen who have been key players? Expect some big things from them in the future?
I do. We have two returning varsity players, Jayla Pratt and Kayla Alexander, who were both on varsity last year, and I think this year they've been just as impactful, but next year I think being seniors, they'll feel the momentum carry over from this year to understand that they've worked hard during this entire season to get to their senior year.
So you're almost about halfway through with the all the teams seeing them the first time. You play them twice. Does that give you a better idea for the second time around when you start seeing some of these teams again?
I think that's the advantage of volleyball is that you get to play the teams twice. So if you exactly miss a cue in the first round, you have time to prepare in the second round to fix those mistakes and give them a better game.
Okay, and then of course Royal is going to be a big game. I know you had a tough loss to them this past Friday, but you get to go to their place October the 9th. Is that going to be a game that you guys are really excited for?
I think so. I mean, I think in most sports, when you get to match up against somebody again that you lost to, it's more of like a payback game. So you want to show like, hey, you know, the first time, I don't want to say it was a blooper, but, you know, we're out to come get you this time around.
Okay, so we look forward to seeing good things from the Stafford volleyball program.
Thank you.
All right, next up is our interview with Coach Angel Maldonado of Stafford Cross Country. Welcome back to Spartan Sports Central. Coach Maldonado is a Stafford graduate who's now in his second season as Stafford's cross country coach. Last season, the Stafford girls cross country team qualified for the regional meet in Corpus Christi. Welcome back to the show, Coach.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so you guys have been traveling all over the place. I think LaPorte, Galveston, Belleville. So tell me about the season so far.
So far, I want to say we've been going to bigger meets with the cross country team, both the boys and the girls. Some of these meets we have performed well. Some of my top runners are like Nestor Villatoro, Nathaniel Gonzalez. On the girls' side, we have Casey Riascos. We have competed in the Division II at these bigger meets where they tend to be for smaller schools, and some of our runners actually placed and got medals at these meets, so pretty well for them.
Okay, so last year, like I said in the intro, the girls team qualified for the regionals, went down to Corpus Christi. What about this year? Do you feel like the girls will go back, or do you think the boys will make it there?
I think we have a good chance on the girls' side, but I think also on the boys, we have a pretty strong group of boys this season. So some of those guys last year on the boys' team, you know, they were young, and so now they've, you know, gotten older and stronger. So there's a bigger chance for the boys to make it to regionals. We have a top runner, Nestor Villatoro. Like I said, he ran track last season. And I mean, he made it out of district as #1 and went to regionals and competed there. So he's part of the cross country team this year. And again, we have other members on that team like Axel. Has been training very hard all summer, and hopefully we can do good things and make it out to the regional.
And then this Saturday, you guys are going to Weimar, Texas, a community I know well. My in-laws live there, so I travel there often, or they're from there. They don't live there currently. But get to travel to Weimar often, and this is going to be an opportunity to run with a little more elevation.
Yes, this particular meet is a little ways out. I mean, I decided to take them there just because it's a smaller meet, and we hope to perform very well there against these smaller schools. But in terms of the elevation, I've been training them. We have a hill here at the campus, and we use that to work any type of elevation running there. So I think they're going to be pretty prepared for this meet.
All right, then after Weimar, and I hope before you guys leave Weimar, you get some. They're famous for their sausage. I hope you guys maybe get some sausage before you leave.
We'll try it.
After that, you come back to the Flatlands. You got a meet here in Sugar Land, and then one over at HBU. So tell me about those upcoming meets.
The Sugar Land one, the Kepner Cougar Classic, that's a meet that we go to every year. This time they're hosting it on a Friday, which is the day we have the Fort Bend County Fair. So we're going to be performing that morning, and so if anybody can make it out and support us, we'll be there. It's the closest one around, so that's kind of where most of our parents tend to come and support the kids. And
of course, HBU's not too far away either.
HBU, we used to go to it, but we kind of stopped going to it. But this season, I want to take them because again, it's nearby, and then it gives them exposure against the collegiate coaches and stuff like that.
And then looking forward, you have the district meet over in Brookshire at Royal High School. So talk about competing in that.
So this is the third year, I believe, that they're hosting it there, and so it's relatively the same course. So the kids are getting more familiar with that course, and so we have I want to say a higher chance of making it out of district on both the boys and girls, and that's the plan. We've been working hard all this time for district, so we're only a couple of weeks away from that, and we hope to perform very well there.
Okay, so with these distance runners, are you kind of building so that in the future we have some qualify for the state track meet?
Yes, of course, that's always the plan as a coach. Whatever sport it is, our dreams are to make it to state, whether it's one individual or as a team. This year, I mean, we have, like I said, one athlete that may be able to get out of regionals and make it to state, and that's Nestor Villatoro. But other than that, the plan is to make it, compete in district, get out of district, go to regionals, and hopefully years to come we can make it out as a team to the state competition.
And then on the girls' side, some of these kids are preparing for soccer.
Yes, a lot of the girls that are on the cross-country team are some of my soccer girls as well, and so I have them compete. That way they're conditioning and preparing for their soccer season. So all this endurance training is going to help them in the long run.
Okay, so I know last year, did that help the team, like endurance-wise, when they went to regionals and then onto the season, which of course you made the playoffs?
Yes, like I said, I believe like an athlete that's in shape and in good shape in terms of running will benefit that particular athlete on the field because soccer, you do a lot of running up and down the field. So why I have them run cross-country is to help build that stamina and that endurance and just get their lungs stronger. That way they can last longer on the field.
And what's been your favorite meet of the season so far?
I want to say the Galveston one was pretty fun just because it was along the beach, and the kids, although it was raining and muddy, the kids enjoyed that one. It's just, you're running downside the beach. I mean, the water's there, so it's a beautiful view of Galveston water. So the kids had fun there. So.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks, Coach. Appreciate you being here as always. All right, folks. Well, that's it. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Spartan Sports Central.
This program was produced on the Stafford campus of Houston Community College.